Hi, I'm Ed Cronin. I've been taking this course, Social Justice as it relates to restorative justice. This is my fourth course that I've taken with IIRP, and I am anticipating next week having completed my certificate in the field of restorative justice. This has been a really terrific course, especially in terms of the content that I've been exposed to, but also more in terms of the interactions I've had with my classmates in this course and the great feedback they've been giving me right along. It's really enhanced a lot of what I was learning. Um, I've been very fortunate in my life to have worked in so many different capacities in law enforcement. And what I found and took away from this course was the affirmation of a lot of the things that I did. Not perfect, but at least with a lot of those things that I had to do, many times I felt like I was on an island. But this course has reassured me that I think I did do the right things. The first quick story I'll go over really as quick as I can is the story of when I was a police chief back in 2006 in a city of 42,000 people with a murder rate higher per capita than the city of Boston, our capital city. We were a city of 42,000 in Fitchburg. And we also had a dropout rate in our local high school of 42%. So I took on an incredible challenge when I came in. And I went through a process of increasing enforcement on many different levels. Um, that was highly effective in increasing the numbers of arrests and search warrants and drugs seized and all that. But it had no effect on the crime. And it wasn't until I met an indigenous Latina woman who had been hired by a local college to work on the Latino coalition to try to impact this dropout rate and improve it. And she came to me and one day when I was chief of police and basically said if I would be asked if I'd be part of this coalition, and I said, yeah, of course. I also told her that I was very disappointed in a lot of the Latino men in my community, and because I felt they were absent. And she didn't judge what I said. She just listened, and then she asked me this question that turned things around. She said, "You have all the power. You know, you have the police department, 100 police officers, millions of dollars to spend, cars, guns. What are you doing to help it better, make it better?" And that was the beginning of listening, deep listening. And what I didn't know at the time really was part of restorative justice, being able to listen in a safe space and not be judged. And I ended up working with this woman and putting together a systems thinking task force for our whole community that included about 40 different leaders in the community, with the question being, why was crime and murders occurring in my community? What was really unique about this was we had the normal amount of civic leaders, two presidents of colleges, police, social service agencies, you name it. But the first time ever, we had actually minorities from the community participating in the discussions we would have. And we had special training done on systems thinking. We broke up in groups for a couple of days. And then at the end of the process, a Latino gentleman stood up and said, "We've come to a conclusion in our group." And I, was just listening. And they said, the causes of crime and drugs dropout rate are institutional racism, unconscious, and lack of economic opportunity for at-risk kids. Okay, so it was then I realized that these kids were failing. And I began to look into what was going on at the high school, and I found out that there was no engagement with any of these kids. They were basically expelled when they were 16 years old. And what I've learned is the way the brain works is when people think that it's wired for success, it isn't. It's wired for survival. So many times when all those kids would fail, they'd seek gangs in order to be able to survive in the world. So this problem was becoming my crime problem. It wasn't even starting in the police department. It was starting way before that. So I had a chance to look at things in a much different way. Part of what I was doing at the time, too, once I was transforming and seeing things in a different way, I became an ally. But I didn't become an ally by just standing aside and speaking out. Instead, when we had the task force, I helped create a safe space for people to speak and to be able to talk in a safe way and be listened to. And when we were done the conversation, not everyone agreed with it. We had several white leaders in the community walk out and say, I don't want to talk about racism. But here we were, and we did talk about it, and we continued to talk about it. And one of the things we also did was I took money I had from drug raids and seizures, and I used it to create jobs for kids in the summer, as did several other agencies. And we ended up seeing a very serious decrease in crime. And the graduation rate over the years has steadily gone down to the point where I think it was something like 8% last year, which isn't great, but it's a huge difference between what we were dealing with. I think today, and what I'm getting from this course too, was I was asked to do what's called a SOAR analysis of an old neighborhood that was crime-filled when I was a police chief. And I did walk the neighborhood, and I did find that this neighborhood, which included a park and a bar, was primarily patronized by black people, were all gone now. And instead of the crime and the prostitution and the drug dealing at the park and all the other things that were going on, I walked up around the neighborhood and found it to be completely changed. The bar was gone, replaced by CVS. There was a credit union now where a factory was. There was a new fire station also located there. The park had been completely renovated. And I walked around the park, and there was two people in the park, two white adults, a man and a woman, using the swings. And I ended up finishing my walk. I had my wife with me. And, it was obvious to me when I did my analysis that there were many assets for the future there, but it was a gentrification of the neighborhood. There were no more minorities present in the neighborhoods. So this in itself was a bit disturbing. And when I wrote up my SOAR analysis, it was only one of my classmates, when I had talked about describing what it all looked like today, was saying basically to me, what happened to the black people? And she was absolutely right. I mean, this may be a gentrification, but it didn't do anything to increase the diversity and equity of our city. So in closing, believe it or not, I've been asked to be on another task force, and I was recently at a panel discussion where I was one of the panelists, and I again was asked to be part of a project that would increase diversity in my community. So we're going to be engaged to begin the process again, And I'm hoping to bring myself with all my unconscious bias, which is always there and always there for all of us, uh, forward to help solve this problem. And the last closing thing is I learned about a lot of isms in this course. And one I had never thought of was ageism. And I'm 72 years old. And I recently applied for my doctorate at Northeastern University in Boston and kind of convinced beforehand that I'll never get in because I'm too old. But then I started thinking about, wait a minute, you know, these are supposed to be diverse institutions. And how many people 72 years old did they get that want to be in a doctorate program? So I'm hopeful. I'm very grateful to Dr. Jones and everybody else in this course um, for reminding me that I always need to be in check of my own self, whether it's any types of isms, and that we all need to be in check of that. Thank you.